The following extract is from the commemorative programme for the Lisbon Lions London dinner at the Grosvenor Hotel on May 31st, 2017. The article in question is called I Was There, and it's by Celtic author and historian Pat Woods.
I was there. With foreign travel then still, relatively speaking, in its infancy, it was for me, and I suspect the majority of those who travelled to Portugal from Scotland, a first view of the continent. The whole experience had a real sense of adventure about it. For someone coming from grey, rainy old Glasgow, sunny Lisbon was a revelation. An elegant capital whose broad, tree-lined avenues, arches, towers and monuments gave it the feel of an enchanted city. It certainly did not give the impression of being a place used to disruption of any kind. But I arrived to find that Celtic fans were everywhere, their good-natured boisterousness, their singing and dancing in the cafes and restaurants having already overcome the initial astonishment and curiosity of the natives, whose partiality for the Scots was already clear, overwhelmingly so. The omens were good. The sense that something special was in prospect for the Bahoys being reinforced by the sight of the ultimate destination, a stadium whose whiteness was surrounded by greenery. The Estadio Nacional, a breathtaking amphitheatre located 10 miles or so from the city centre and set in the forested Jamor Valley that sweeps down to the Atlantic, would not only reinforce the spectacle, it generated an atmosphere that made the 12th European Cup final one of the most famous and memorable episodes in the annals of football. It would prove to be an emotional ringer of a contest. Who could forget the spine-tingling moment when the teams emerged from an underground tunnel into the sunshine, the green and white hoops of Celtic contrasting vividly with Inter's black and blue stripes. What anguish when the Milanese side took an early lead via the penalty spot. How heartening and rousing the immediate reaction of as fearless a bunch as ever trod a football field. Following to the letter the instructions of their inspirational manager Jock Stein to play as if there were no more tomorrows, as their vigorous attacking football forced their more experienced and exalted opponents onto back foot for the remainder of the match. Not that the policy was entirely risk-free, as Ronnie Simpson's back heel to John Clark across the pitch to fend off the threat of the onrushing Domingini shortly before the interval was of the heart-stopping variety, the memory of which still brings me out in a cold sweat. The tension surrounding the incident reflected a nagging concern harboured by me, and I'm sure those around me, as time marched on, namely that Celtic's relentless pressure would all end in vain, not least because Interkeeper Sarti, dubbed the man with 1,000 arms in an Italian newspaper's match report, appeared to be cloaked in invincibility as he defied the Scots with a string of saves which bordered on the miraculous. When Tommy Gemmell's thunderbolt finally delivered the breakthrough around the hour mark, his equaliser greeted as much with sheer relief as with joy, its execution so stunning that, like the scorer himself, I had to have a second look to make sure that the ball was in the net. The dam had been breached, and the palpably downcast Nerazzurri now resembled condemned men waiting justice, which was duly, if belatedly, delivered by Steve Chalmers' deft redirecting of Bobby Murdoch's cross-come shot. It was entirely fitting that the subsequent presentation of the trophy to Captain Billy McNeill, looking like a Greek god as he thrust the new trophy at the summer sky, should rank among the most iconic in sporting history and bring to a close an event marked by the passion of Celtic and their fans, which captivated millions of television viewers across Europe, as well as those present in the stadium. The final word must go to the correspondent of a Belgian newspaper, Roger de Salme, who summed it all up perfectly. You had to have mingled with the Celtic camp and the club's followers to appreciate fully how, on the banks of the Tagus, these men from Clydeside brought a breath of fresh air to football itself, as reflected by the fact that after only a few minutes, supposedly neutral supporters were rooting for the Scots on an unforgettable occasion during the course of which football with a smile on its face was reinstated.